What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 268 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, Jared. My co-host from the Alex.
Hello.
We have so much to get to today, I think.
We kind of, yeah.
I don't know.
No, we do.
Okay. It's maybe the normal amount to get to, but in a short amount of time. Because we are pressed for time this week. And, we actually mean it this time. It's like, oh, it's going to be a short one an hour and a half later. So, it is a Justice episode, which is totally rad. We're talking about the one of the best days of the year, which we're actually gonna unless we make an effort not to, we might miss it.
Yeah,
which is kind of, it's bittersweet.
I was planning on doing some research and seeing what's in the area,
what's around, because the first Saturday in May, we've talked about it many times in the past. I think last year we had John on, or was it 2 years ago?
I think that was a couple years ago.
I can't remember. The first Saturday in May is Free Comic Book Day, a day that is exactly what it advertises itself to be.
Some people are still confused by it. I just had a friend ask me on Monday at Frisbee, I'm like, "What is free comic?" And so I was
just answered your question by stating the name.
But it's not always that clear,
right?
There's a specific label or logo that you'll see on comic books. It's to encourage you to go to a comic shop, go find a comic shop. Sometimes there's other similar bookstores. There's libraries that get involved. Look around. You can go to the Free Comic Day website. They should have some information there. And books with the specific logo that says Free Comic Day on it, those books will be free for the day. A lot of stores and venues will say limitations, because they don't want someone to just walk in and take one of everything or the entire stack and walk out.
Well, they're free.
Oh, just take what I want. So oftentimes there'll be limit of 2, limit of 3. Kids get 5, adults get 2. Our local one here in town, Matt's, is doing a food drive. So as long as you bring in canned goods, he has a tiered level of what you can do. And a lot of stores also get way involved by having a bunch of other stuff go on at the store. So it's not just you walk in, get your books, and then leave and never ever come back. So some places have artists to come in and do autographs, or not art, depending on the level of the artist. Sometimes there's autographs. Sometimes they do free sketches. Sometimes there's cosplayers. Sometimes they'll get a cake or something. There's a lot of stuff to do. A lot of the stores usually have some kind of extra promotion, to get people to hang around longer, and then want to spend some money on comics, and then come back later, maybe get a sub, maybe get some more comics in the future.
I liked that store, and I liked the comics that I got, and I want to read more of them.
Right. Where can I have more of whatever this is? And usually someone will be happy to tell you about it.
It's the most fun day for comic book fans. It's the most fun day ever, but if you like comics,
it's freer. It's more freer than a convention.
Exactly.
I mean,
And even
conventions are cool, but
if it's I've always wanted to read comics, but they're expensive, and I don't have a good jumping on point, and I don't know how to do it. Just go to a comic shop, check out Free Comic Book Day. I mean, we've mentioned and especially because shops don't get this stuff for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We do, but they don't.
Yeah.
So. I went negative right away with it. I was about we're talking about how amazing Free Comic Book Day is, and then I'm like, don't be that guy. Just walks in, says, "Where's the free stuff?" and then bails.
Give your eyes a treat. Look around, look in what's there,
and buy it.
Usually, there's other cool stuff in the store. For everything that's become so pop culture, there's so many movies that are comic movies, all the comic TV shows. Look around, you'll see something you're going to recognize. And, just take some time. You
know what I would have never read if not for Free Comic Book Day?
What's that?
Lock and Key.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Probably in my top 5 stories of all time.
They had a Free Comic Day?
I still have it. I actually flipped through it a couple weeks ago. I was just going through my comics and stuff, and I still have that. They had a Free Comic Book Day Lock and Key issue. It was I think it was when I don't want to spoil too much, but Giant was fighting Shadow.
Mm-hmm. That's one that'll catch you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, "What is this book?"
Yeah.
And at the time, I had no idea who Joe Hill was.
That wasn't even the first trade, was it?
No, that was pretty later on because something had happened and
Yeah.
someone had taken over someone else, and but I just happened to pick it up. I was like, oh, this is free, and I loved it. And then that was like 3 years before I even bought the first trade of Lock and Key. But I was like, that was rad.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about that. And I had no idea who Joe Hill was. I didn't know that Joe Hill was even Stephen King's son. No clue at all.
Yeah.
And then that book wound up being one of my favorites. I love that book. I was actually reading through it like 2 days ago. Yeah. Just because I fucking love that book. I will literally sit on my floor in front of my bookshelf and just thumb through the trades of that book. It's so good.
I bought 2 more keys from Skeleton Crew because he was having like a found product sale or like a backroom clear out sale, like little clearance kind of thing. And I bought a Hercules key and a music box key because of that book.
Yep. Just need all of them.
I kind of do.
Just need all of them.
So some publishers will make a new story. We'll kind of like come up with something like a side story or just to get you involved with the characters.
Like a one-shot.
Yeah, like a one-shot. Sometimes it's exclusive to Free Comic Book Day. Other times they'll kind of like take a grouping of other stories, or like they'll take a section, like a smaller print run or smaller like page count than a normal comic maybe. But it's one that already exists, so you could go find the real issue or find the trade paperback that's involved in or might lead into. Some publishers will do like a combination book, and they'll do like 3 of their titles that they publish and kind of put them into one issue, so you could with one book you pick up a variety of stuff, because that's kind of what it is. It's like you could be like, I like X-Men, it's
like a sampler.
I'm gonna get my X-Men book. Well, while you're there, like maybe check out Mouse Guard while you're at it,
right?
Because that's the idea, is to give a shot to other things that you might not actually buy, or like you might have time to flip through while you're in the shop, to get your pull list. I looked up some information on it.
Yeah, you've been getting into like the history, the lore of Free Comic Book Day.
A retailer out of California named Joe Field.
It had to start somewhere.
It's like, it hasn't been around forever.
I mean, it's not very common for stores to be, hey, I'm going to designate a day where I'm going to give away stuff.
Yeah. It's like a sidewalk sale. Joe Field from California. He owned a store, and he was writing columns for Comics and Games Retailer magazine, and that was in 2001. And he was like, we should just have a day where we give out free stuff, like Free Comic Day, and it'll get more people involved, because he was able to see into the future almost and figure out that this is a time when comic book movies are getting really popular. Like they're just starting to be really cool, and there's a lot of possibility ahead for them. And like this was on the heels of the first X-Men movie, right? And so the very next year, in 2002, was the first Free Comic Book Day, and that was associated with when the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie came out,
which at the time
was an excellent movie.
Everyone, like literally, like that movie was insane.
Yeah,
and like it had me, like I never was into comics growing up. Like I was obsessed with Spider-Man after that movie came out. Still didn't read comics, but like I had posters everywhere. I loved Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the shit. Don't know anything about him. I know Tobey Maguire played him in a movie once.
But like a lot of the fans were kind of waiting for this moment, because like we finally got our X-Men movie, and like we were patiently like just drooling.
So up until then, we had the cartoon, and at that time, the cartoon had been off the air for
for
quite
a
years,
while.
yeah,
10 years maybe.
Yeah,
well, more than that.
I don't even know. That's Larry.
We had a few other. We had like a few other cartoons, and like they tried a couple series. There's a Generation X series they tried.
I could never ever get into any other series, any other X-Men or Spider-Man. Like it's a Spider-Man cartoon that was on Fox.
Yeah,
that's like top tier. That's top tier right there. That's S grade. And then the X-Men cartoon is just legendary. Like,
oh yeah, easily.
I can't watch any, like if it's not in the exact same style with the exact same like everything. Can't watch it.
I tried getting into the Evolution. The X-Men was difficult.
Wasn't Wolverine like brown suit and stuff in that?
I don't even remember.
Different? I don't even know. It doesn't matter.
But and like this was a great point in time, because so the first one was 2002, the second one was May 3rd, 2003, and that was coinciding with X2, which is also the first time, like, now comic books are a franchise movie series.
Right.
It's like we had the same team from the first X-Men movie in a second X-Men movie.
And they're all big movie stars.
Yeah, mind-blowing. And then after that, we got Spider-Man 2. Just 2 years later, we got Spider-Man 2 after Spider-Man 1.
Remember how good Spider-Man 2 was?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
God, that movie was good.
Dr. Octopus, isn't he just some fat
He's
guy?
a loser. That's exactly what I thought. And I was like, this guy's like, wow, who cares about... Get Venom or Carnage. That's what everyone was like, every casual fan like myself at the time. Just, where's Venom?
Me with 50 Venom books. I was like, it's a little too soon for Venom, you guys. Maybe Craven. We could throw some Craven in there. But who was it? Was it Alfred Molina?
Yeah,
right?
he was incredible.
He was great.
So good.
It was a lot of fun.
And like at the end, like the realization. Oh God,
Mm-hmm,
like the redeeming,
yep.
Quality. Oh, Spider-Man 2, dude.
2005, 2006 didn't really have like a movie associated with it, but after that, every year was a movie, kind of like coinciding with Free Comic Day. Spider-Man 3, Iron Man, the Wolverine origin movie, Iron Man 2, Thor, Avengers, Iron Man 3, and it keeps going. This year, it's coinciding with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is already everyone's really hyped for it.
Yep.
And yeah, they've said it's been pretty effective. Other countries have gotten on board and doing their own version, because it's like a North America thing.
Right.
Because it's through Diamond distributors, Diamond retailers. And like they kind of organize it, and they have to distribute the books. They end up having like a choice in what gets published and what gets printed with their Free Comic Day label on it.
Right.
Which I couldn't find. There was like an independent publisher that wanted to submit a book and they got denied because like Diamond like sets like there's 50 books or something like that
right.
they'll do, and then the retailer has a choice of which ones they're going to order and how many. But give that a shot. Look that up, please. If you find something you like, tell us about it. I'm curious.
Go read some free comics, and maybe even buy some comics that you wouldn't have bought otherwise.
Usually there's sales. Some shops have sales on Free Comic Day.
Comic shops are a pretty welcoming place most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
The only thing, maybe go in, get your free stuff, look around, and then come back in a week.
Yeah.
Because it might be kind of crowded.
Yes.
It's usually, some shops get super crowded because of all the stuff they have going on. And, like, you won't really have space to dig through back issues or pull statues out of.
There's always the one, though. There's always the one, just with like long boxes everywhere, just doesn't give a shit. But did mention that it is a bit bittersweet, and we're gonna have to do some research ourselves because we are not going to be in town. We're going to be in the magical lands of Jersey. We talked about it a couple weeks ago with Michelle Greenwood of Greenwood Creations. But we leave for the World's Fair the day after tomorrow. By the way, today's Wednesday. But it's going to be our 5th year. Good Lord. Attending the fair. And it shall be rad. And we're going to have to scope out some comic shops in Jersey. I do know you mentioned Jen Bob's Secret Stash is down there, which is where...
But then you pointed out that's like...
It's like an hour deeper into Jersey, I think. But that's where Comic Book Men is shot, and it's Kevin Smith's comic book store, and you can buy the comics there, and you can also meet Walt Flanagan maybe. Mm-hmm. But I've wanted to go there ever since Jen Silent Bob Strike Back. When I was like, wait, Kevin Smith has a comic shop?
He's got 3 of them.
Apparently,
he did.
He had a couple, but I think he's down to the one now.
Huh.
I don't know. We'll have to get him on and ask him. But
Shreezy.
We'll have to find a local comic shop down in Jersey and visit. Well, covered in gears and goggles, not over the top hat. But what else are we talking about today?
Do you want to talk about sketches?
Maybe.
There's been...
I like sketches.
I'm a big fan of sketches.
I actually haven't gotten a sketch in a long time.
I've cut back on my usual hunting.
Yeah. As adulting happens more and more, I get less and less sketches. I buy more like finished art.
Yeah.
Or like hey, can you sign this hardcover? Oh, you're so nice. You did a little head sketch. You're the man. Like that's pretty much the extent of my sketch collecting these days. I'm terrible.
Or just buy original art, too.
That too, yeah.
It's not like it's more, it's about the same, depending. I want to give a shout out to our buddy Charlie, because I'm borrowing some topics that popped up on Sketch Prices on the Facebook group.
What a good dude.
Yeah, totally. Charlie gave a shout out to us a little while ago because he's going to bring Sketch Prices to, where did I put it? I got rid of it.
Oh no.
Bad.
Sorry,
person.
Charlie.
Nope, found it. CampbellCon. Charlie's gonna be at CampbellCon. That's way over in California, other side of the country from us, in October, and he's gonna have Sketch Prices there. When we go to a convention, we get a table. We just want to talk to people.
Yep, that's literally what it is.
We love talking about comics, talking about their art, what they got. We usually encourage people to show us what they recently got or what sketches they got from which artists, so we could drool and praise their choices and be jealous, because that's why you buy stuff, to be like, look what I got, and we go, that's really awesome, you're awesome for getting that.
It's literally like many conversations that we've had too.
And so Charlie's gonna have a table for Sketch Prices, so we'll keep an eye out for that. That's not until October.
You can go back and listen way back. That's like OG. Like, think first, I don't even know, first 50, first 100? It has to be first 100.
Definitely first 100, yeah.
Charlie's been a longtime friend of the show ever since we stumbled upon his original website at Sketch Prices. But we've had him on multiple times. Latest one was about a year ago, right?
I think so.
Ish?
Yeah.
I think we reviewed Massive with him. A convention in Worcester, Massachusetts, when he lives in California.
Yeah.
But he has a devoted Facebook page now, just to Sketch Prices, which has grown to a pretty big following. I think over 5,000 members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe over 6. They were going to close in on 7 next. Yeah, I've got it right here. 6,135 members.
Good Lord.
At the moment.
And that's just all people who dig sketches, convention sketches, going to conventions, saying, hello, artist, I like your work. Here's some money. Can you draw something for me?
And a lot of people also share information on artists.
Right.
It's where you could share, hence the name, the prices, so you know what you're going to spend if you want to go get somebody. But also sometimes there's news that comes around of like what artists might be changing their format or what some have been saying or what they're looking to sell. So someone recently shared a tweet from Scotty Young, who does a lot of the like childlike characters. They'll do like Cyclops, but as a kid, or like the whole X-Men team.
You've
but
seen
as
his
like
variants.
Lots of variants. He said at one point he's doing like 200 covers a year now, which that's just covers.
And in addition to his creator-owned book with I Hate Fairyland.
So we tweeted out, now that I can only do 5 to 7 sketches a day at cons, I hate seeing them go on eBay the next day. I may start personalizing sketches. Which means, you want a Scotty Young Black Bolt. And so what's your name? Oh, it's your Mark? To Mark. And this way it's personal, because usually if you hang around someone's table and like you're going to spend the time to watch them draw the thing for you, if they do it right there, sometimes they'd put your name on a list and like, I'll get to it around 2 o'clock later today, you can come back or pick it up later. Other times they do it right in front of you, and that's giving you time to like have a conversation and maybe, I don't know, become friends with them, because it's become like this personal interaction. It's not like they're a machine and you're like ATMing your card into them and then they're dispensing art, because they're a person. And so there's pieces that I've gotten which now I'm like, I kind of wish I did get this personalized. Like I looked around, it's not super common, because I was looking for what I have up and framed and like what's been in a few of my books,
right? And
like only a couple like have my name on them. Most of my autographs of things have it personalized to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I like, of my sketches, I think I have one that's personalized. And even then, like I didn't even think twice about it. Apparently, this is quite the touchy subject for some people.
Yeah. There's an 80 comment thread on after this post to the sketch prices page. A lot of back and forth. A lot more people on the don't personalize vote than yes, please personalize it to me, which I thought was a little surprising.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of different versions of it, different like sets of reasoning. Some people were saying like, I just want my art. I don't want someone to write stuff on my art because someday it might not be my art. I'll pass it down to my kids or whatever. And I'm like, but I made friends with Jim Calafiore, so maybe I want him to like, hey Alex, here's your sketch. To Alex. Regards, best friends, whatever. But there's people that don't want that. And then what would start like peppering into this conversation in the posts was people who are like, well, maybe I want to flip it. And then I go, don't waste an artist's time and then just flip what they worked for you.
There are so many ways to approach it. And like, I know we've talked about this many times in the past, and I guarantee you I'm probably contradicting myself, so someone can go dig it up. But like, if you want to pay an artist for something, it's one thing, and again, so many ways to approach it. If you want to come at it with, I'm such a big fan, would you mind doing this for me? I know you don't normally use color, but would you mind coloring? I'm such a big fan.
Yeah.
Can I pay extra? Will you color it? with the intent of flipping it?
Yeah.
While that's absolutely within your right to do, doesn't mean that it's not shitty. It's shitty to do. Like the deceit part of it, Like,
well, I had shared a Bleeding Cool article from
way back
2011.
That was our second year at Boston.
Adam Hughes was there. And I think Justin shared it to me too. But like a guy was like pestering Adam Hughes all day to do this Wonder Woman. And was saying like, oh, I already have the frame for it, and it's for kids, so just get it. And like really like riding his ass about it. And then like the next day it was on eBay. And so Adam's assistant was like, that's it. He's not doing any more con sketches. He ruined it. Like he'll do one or two, but then he'll just post them on eBay anyway. Right. So you're welcome. Thanks for ruining it for us. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of collectors and people that buy sketches that say, well, I paid my money for it. I made the purchase. It's mine now. I can do whatever I want with it.
Which is true, but it still doesn't change that it can be shitty. It's one thing, and this is where it just gets so muddy.
Yeah.
Like, if I... And again, God, this is so shitty. But
some of the comments are saying, like, if it's a free sketch, if they give it to you for free, or if they're doing free, small ones, then yeah, go ahead and personalize it. It's like you got it for free,
right?
So it's for you. But they say like if it's transaction, then it's mine. I can do what I want.
Right, and it is, and like down the road, like if like I was like on the brink of like, oh my God, I have 2 mortgages on my house, I can't pay for food, my the wife and dog are starving. Would I consider, possibly being like, hey, here's this Ivan Rice sketch, like, and I can justify that in my head. Does that make me shitty? Does that, because like when I look at a flipper, I'm like, you're kind of a dick, like if you're just buying that with the intent to flip it. But like, are there certain times where it might be more acceptable?
So I figure there's a difference in flipping and making a hard choice, like you're talking about, because that came up a lot in this conversation too. Was like, well, what if, I have to pay for my next convention? Or like...
You don't have to go to that convention.
Well, that's one of the things that a lot of people are saying. It's like, well, sometimes you end up dropping like $400 before you even walk in the door. And they're like, so maybe I want to make some of that up. And it's like, if you have to make it up, then maybe don't go to the show.
Or go to smaller shows.
Exactly. Yo. So between going to New York Comic Con and then going to like Massive Con, like I'm not dumping on Massive Con, it's a fun show, but it's a much smaller show.
Yeah.
And so there's not as many long lines, and like you could walk up to like Ken Lashley has been huge on sketch prices for the past year. Like, everyone just showing off everything they get from Ken Lashley. And, like, I was able to walk up to his table, you know, with ease in the past when I went. And hang out for a while, too. But bigger shows, like, you might be more crowded because there's more people and the prices go up. So, like, yeah, just check out a smaller show. You might not find as many headliner artists, but, like, you'll find someone cool there. What was my other point? There was also people saying... I think I lost it.
It's gone.
I'll get it back.
I've been on both sides of this too. Like when I years ago, Mike and Mike, they are radio broadcasters on ESPN. They have like the primetime morning slot, like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or whatever it is. They had a book signing. They had a book come out called like Rules for Sports and Life, and it was like a comedy book about how to like apply sports to life. And they were doing a signing at the Barnes & Noble in West Hartford. And I went with my friends, and it was cool because I was like, oh, hey, it's Mike and Mike. I listen to them on the radio, and I sometimes see them on TV.
Yeah.
Go figure. And they were coming through. They were like, okay, so we're going to put Post-it notes in it so, you know, when they personalize it, they'll know what to write. And I was like, I don't want mine personalized. Because I didn't. I just didn't want it personalized.
Yeah.
And like when I got up to the table, they're like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Oh, my name's Jeremy, but you don't have to write that." And they're like, "You don't want it written?" And I was like, "No." And I didn't even think two seconds about it.
Yeah.
But then I kind of realized later, like that was kind of rude, like because then I look like I'm just like, and I still have it for the record. I still have it. I still have that signed copy. I did not flip it, and I've never once thought about because I get $10 for it, but like. It just never even crossed my mind that might be a rude thing to say at the time, or it could come off as rude. I guess it's not necessarily rude, but like, no, don't personalize it. Just don't. You know, it could very very easily be construed as, you know, okay, this guy's just gonna flip it. You know, like, and there are a lot of art, like, you know, Ryan Otley has called people out on Twitter to be like, hey guys, look at this, I drew this last night, you know, and it's already up on eBay. Yeah, you know, which I could see as being very frustrating. And people could make the argument that's the business. You know, it's just so shitty.
I was thinking, I haven't had any artists like offer to personalize it. Sometimes it happens, but like usually they just hand me the page, and I say thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. You know, your work is great, and you know, if I'm not bugging them and I can hang around for a bit, I'll show them the rest of my collection. Yeah, and being like, you're drawing me Lockjaw. Here's the rest of my Inhumans. They're going together in one collection that I'm going to keep forever. Or like I showed Cliff Chang my framed page from Green Arrow, and he was like, "Oh, I really love seeing that." You know, this way he knows like it's on display.
It's on a wall. You know, it's not locked in a cabinet. You know,
or being filed through. You know. A bunch of resellers and art reps and whatever. And our friend Kyle, who's been on a couple times, Kyle Pasciuti, I had told him, like, I've never resold sketches that I've gotten. And he goes, come on. Because, like, he knows I have an eBay store. I'm not promoting it. But I sell a lot of stuff on eBay. But I've never sold a con sketch. From comic art fans, I will list some things like not for sale, and then one thing I'll take that down. I sold one page of original art from a Connor Hawk series that someone wanted, and I was like, and like I don't really make anything off it, but like I have never sold any sketches. Right. And, like there's one or two that I'm not a huge fan of because it didn't quite come out perfect and didn't come out right. But I'll still feel weird if I get rid of it. Yeah. You know. Yep. But there was one guy who like tried to make a comparison, and it was stupid. Like I don't really have a way around describing it. He says, "Butcher, here's the steaks you ordered." Restaurateur, "Thanks. Hey, what are you doing?" Butcher, "I'm writing your name on these steaks." Restaurateur, "But I need this for my restaurant." Butcher, "Oh, so you're gonna flip these steaks?" And there's like 5 likes on it. I'm like, that is the worst comparison I've ever seen. because artists have art reps, and that's what
Wouldn't it be more accurate to have like a restaurant sell someone food, and then someone turns around and sells that food?
Right.
Because you're selling that person that food with the intent of like, here's your food.
Yeah.
Whereas a butcher is probably more aware.
Yeah.
What's going on?
There's a contract involved.
I don't think the butcher,
There's regular steaks every day that
I raised that cow. You gonna flip that cow?
So I commented that I always hang my steak on my wall for my friends to look at.
My steaks are investments, and
but that was yesterday, and just today there's news from Adam Hughes. Also is talking about there's people or companies that are doing like third-party services to get books signed or to get sketches done, and so he's going to be like reviewing how he does these things for his policies, and I'll have more information later. And comments are already like, "Oh, he's going to start personalizing stuff." It's like, well, that's his choice.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll try and work out his prices. One of Scotty Young's things that he said on his Twitter after his initial post was like, what he charges at shows is usually close to what it ends up going for on eBay. So he's like, I think I'm doing pretty okay figuring out my pricing. Or, figuring out how much talent he's putting onto his page.
Right.
Because it's not just like, I flip exclusive stuff. Because like Mezco will produce 1,000 of these toys. And it's not like one person slaving away. There's 1,000 of these things. And if I'm in line and I'm lucky enough to get one, then I'm going to flip that? Yeah, I am. Or like a comic book or a toy or something. When it's someone's hard work, their hand's going to cramp up. It's their materials. It's their time. Like, they went to a show just to draw for you. Like, maybe be more courteous to them. But another argument is that they're doing a service to fans that can't make it to shows. If you really, really want a Tim Sale inked work, but you're never going to see Tim Sale at a convention, but you can get this Catwoman off eBay, you could still be lucky enough to own one, even though you didn't get it from him in person, so that you had someone in between.
You could do that, or you could do what I did with
Rob Guillory.
Rob Guillory, yeah. He was going to Wizard World Austin. He's like, hey, I'm opening up my commission list. And I was like, hey, Rob, I can't go to Austin because I don't like flying, and I live in New England. Uh-huh. That's really far away. Would you consider possibly, like, could I pay you for a sketch and then have you mail it to me? He's like, yeah, sure.
That was easy. That was easy.
Yeah, that's how I have my Rob Guillory sketch. Mm-hmm. And like I told him, I was like, draw whatever you want, whatever. And he sent me a sketch of Mason, who was my favorite character in the book.
It's amazing.
Yep.
But that's also where art reps come in. And if you're a fan enough of a creator, you can follow their Facebook, follow their Twitter, follow their Instagram. And usually they post things like when they're having commission sales or when their list is open. And then you can jump on that. So like I feel like sometimes the excuse of like, oh, I'm benefiting
the public, you're welcome. By the way, you're going to pay me a fucking premium for this. If you were benefiting, you would sell it for what you paid for it.
Yeah.
That's a lame excuse. Stupid.
So you can see where we stand on the issue.
Yeah.
If you feel differently, then go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, rage on it.
Due to the name of our show, we will allow opinions to vary.
Remember what Rob Guillory and John Layman did?
Yeah. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
But I commented on that, but that was before I realized they were talking about sketches and not just signings. But that was how they say it. They
would sign it like if you.
They were signing books.
Like at one point, they would sign it like to eBay, like if they didn't want it personalized.
Yeah.
But then other times it was like, okay, if you want this signed, if you don't want it personalized, it's a little bit extra. Mm-hmm. If you want it personalized, you pay a little bit less. Because they like people like the CGC thing is everywhere, and it happened last year in Boston too with Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder.
Oh, it was extra.
Yeah. Where if you wanted your books to get CGC, they charge for the signature, which I have voiced my opinions on charging for signatures in the past because I don't like it. But it made me laugh because there was someone who was really annoying in line, and he was planning on CGCing books, and he got really less annoying once he found out that he had to pay for those signatures.
I think one of you mentioned was to the highest bidder.
Yeah. Yep.
I have paid for signatures before, but there was one where I was really okay with it. Because I got Carmine Infantino to sign first appearance of Poison Ivy.
Right.
Which, like, the guy was...
Did he pass away recently? Or a couple
yeah.
years ago?
Yeah. Which, I mean, he was easily 80, if not older.
Right.
And it's, you know, how well do his hands work anymore? If I have to pay this man $10 for his hands to work for me, and he's 3 times my age, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I think I've seen Rob Liefeld charges like $60 to sign his first appearance of Deadpool or something.
Yeah, it all depends on what book he's signing.
Yeah.
Which, again, you know, a lot of people are getting New Mutants, 198? Or whatever it is?
They don't go over 100. So
New Mutants 98?
98 was Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I think 95 was Cable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, most people get those signed with the intent of probably slabbing them and selling them because it's like it's a key book that they made a lot of, but like it still has pretty decent value.
Popular characters.
Exactly. You know,
getting
the movie.
movies.
Yeah. So like, I don't like it, but I get it. You know, I still don't like charging for signatures, especially when it's like a crusade, like, you know. I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way.
How do you feel about, because I believe it was New York Comic Con in the past, started doing the Hero Initiative.
Right.
That or the CBL, Comic Legal Defense Fund.
Yeah.
Like donation canisters.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Does that make me hypocritical?
Because the signing, like usually there's like a sign on the bucket on an artist's table.
Right.
And the
Consider donating.
The sign says something like, I don't charge for autographs, however... you know, maybe consider donating to this for each autograph kind of thing. And so it's an option. Tim Sale, I believe, used to make it kind of mandatory. Mm-hmm. And I believe it might have been Brian Boland had a similar thing.
I can't remember.
But this way, like, they're still encouraging you to pay for a signature, but it's not going straight to the artist or the writer. It's going to a charity. So
Yep. It's such a touchy, not touchy subject, but tricky.
Yo, Rob Liefeld will sign your first appearance Deadpool, but you got to give $50 to Hero Initiative.
I don't know why it just rubs me like my first experience ever, and I've told this story dozens of times. I remember.
The Kirkman.
No, paying for a signature.
Okay.
Was same year at Boston, 2011. I brought my Green Lantern Green Arrow to get Neil Adams to sign. And after waiting in line for like 10, 15 minutes, I saw the sign. It was like signatures, and I was like, money for what? I already bought the book. Like, I got really high and mighty about it. You know, and it's just, for some reason, I don't know. But like, I was more than ready to go up and pay Millie Bobby Brown like $40 or whatever it was at New York Comic Con last year.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, can you sign one of your pictures, I guess, that I'll like just put in a folder and never look at, but I'll show my wife and it'll be really cool for like 5 minutes. And I guess like you also get the experience depending on who it's with. Like your story with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
I tell that story to other people too, and be like, my friend, when he met Nathan Fillion, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And like, I have no problem with that. God, I'm so hypocritical. I'm just kind of like, I was like, contradict myself like from years ago. I'm contradicting myself within the last 30 minutes.
Getting my my Gustavo Fring box cutter. Yeah. What's the actor's name? I forget.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
I almost said Giancarlo Stanton. He's a baseball player. I think. He does the sports.
Gustavo from Breaking Bad.
And Better Call Saul.
Yeah. I haven't started season 3 yet.
I haven't started at all, but I like watching scenes from it.
Okay.
And he popped up in a scene. Spoilers.
Well,
sorry.
He's not in season 1 or 2. I'm a big. I didn't think I would get that much entertainment out of a show about lawyers,
Right.
but I'm really digging it. Anyway,
Odenkirk is really good. And, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Breaking Bad, but I really liked Saul.
Yeah.
Like, Saul, like,
Yeah.
appearances or whatever.
his developing is really cool to watch. But Giancarlo was like, just to switch between who he is and then the character was fun to watch. And then he's doing it next to you and with you and taking pictures and stuff. So, like, you know, next night he'd be like, all right, baby, come on up here.
He was yelling. He was
He's
clapping.
like-
he was having a good time. It
He's
was
like, he
amazing.
just called me baby.
at a tiny, like, I don't want to say rinky dink, but like that was the first year we went to Hartford.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in a sweat box, like underneath like the stage or whatever that was, like
Yeah.
and he was just living it up. He didn't even give a shit. He's like, oh, I was on the biggest television show like in the history of AMC and
6
well,
seasons at least.
Walking Dead, but you know, nominated for Emmys, whatever, you know, it's whatever. It's no big
And so
deal.
I bought the box cutter and had him sign it. And he's like, do you want a picture with it? And I was like, yeah. And then, like, he holds a box cutter in her throat and, like, looks at the camera. And immediately he's in Gustavo mode.
He was Gus.
It
Gus was
great.
holding a box cutter up to your throat. It was terrifying.
And I was like, that was such
I
a
had to
good
take those
face.
pictures, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done.
There's a blade in that knife, too. No, there's not.
It was not.
There's,
I've played with that thing.
I wonder if I could get you. I couldn't. You're too
I'm
good.
too good.
Yeah, you are.
But like that's like an experience, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And-
But, like, we've talked about it before. You have the chance to talk to artists, too. Like, you can still get that same experience.
right.
Like I said, like, when I was talking to Ken Lashley, you know, that whole conversation was just...
Ken Lashley is, excuse me, but he's fucking awesome.
He is.
And I've never even like paid for the experience. Like I've been a bystander, and I was like, this dude loves to fuck with people, and it's in a way that's like not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because like it's like the uncle that tickles too hard. It's like, okay, stop. I know you mean well, but like Ken Lashley, like he messes with you, but he's also like he's super talented, and he's just a good person.
And even like I want to say like different names than I had before. Carlo Barbieri.
I don't know.
He worked on the Red Hulk Thunderbolts for a while,
Right.
And I bought 2 pages off him from New York Comic Con last year. And like I wasn't good at making conversation. I'm also not sure if English is his first language. He had an accent, but like he was explaining stuff to me, and like I just want to talk to this dude as long as possible because I was looking at his work and I was commenting on it and trying to ask him questions but not be annoying. And I was like, look at how small and fine this line work is. And he was like, yeah, it is, isn't it? Like,
I'm really good.
and then he's like telling me about the ink that he used because some ink will dull over the years and, you know, depending on how you keep it. And like, this is really interesting stuff. And I was like, I want to keep talking to this guy, but like, you know, he's busy. I don't want to waste his time. And like, you've got a million other things to do at a convention, but like if you have that chance to still make a fun interaction with people around you.
It's true.
Even waiting in line for Doug Mank, I chatted with a girl cosplaying Cassandra Cain in line in front of me for like 40 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. That was good. We have to end.
Yeah.
People have places to be. I have so much more to say. We didn't even get to the Eisners. We didn't get to speculate on who's going to win the Eisners.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I know how much you love speculation. But Eisner nominees were announced yesterday. 2 days ago? I can't even remember. And
It's like the Emmys or the Oscars of comic books.
exactly. Yeah. But the winners of that will be announced over in during San Diego, blah blah. But we have to end. We're gonna go to Steampunk World's Fair in a couple days. It's gonna be super fun. If you guys are gonna be there, hopefully we'll see somebody there.
When I was looking on Free Comic Day, one of the things that came up on the history of comics was when a comic book writer artist would win the Pulitzer Prize.
Huh.
Yeah. There's been at least 2. One was R. Spiegelman with Mouse.
Right.
Yep.
Moss. M-A-U-S.
Meows. And I think can't find another one now. But Michael Chabon for Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
He won the Pulitzer for that?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yep. Which our friend John York is a huge fan of.
John York cosplayed as
The
a
Escapist.
character from a book.
Yeah.
And like some people got it.
Mhm.
Like, yo, the Escapist? Good times. Okay, we have to end. Super fun. Steam World was for this weekend. Free Comic Book Day. Also, go get comics. Is that it?
Let us know your thoughts on
Yeah.
sketches.
Charging or personalizing? What do you think? Let's have a debate. Get mad at each other on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to do it. I got this mic all warmed up for what's happening later. Oh my god, I'm hinting at stuff that's not happening right now.
It'll be fun.
People don't even know.
Nope.
People don't even know.
Not a clue.
Yeah.
It'll be great, though.
We know, though.
Yeah.
And could be neat. So until then, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And this has been... I interrupted. I'm a piece of shit.
It's okay.
And this has been episode... Oh, no. I lost it. I closed
268.
it. 268 of Opinions.